All right, everybody. My name is Trent Marlowe, and welcome in to episode number 3 of the Soccer Socks podcast. In this episode, we have a lot to go over. I want to thank you all for joining us. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And now, I have to admit, episode number 3, this is the one that I'm most excited for. All right, the last 2 episodes were great. Episode number 3, MLS is back today, baby. We got MLS action back. We got some transfers. I got to talk a little bit of NWSL. But listen, the World Cup is over. Congratulations to Spain. Congratulations to Argentina's runner-up. I guess congratulations for England for taking something home. Not that it really came home, because it's never coming home. England is never going to win another trophy if I have anything to say about it, and if I can, root against them. Of course, I always will. Again, Soccer Socks USA is a podcast by the American fan for the American fan. We talk all things U.S. soccer, from the national team, from the youth levels, from the UPSL, from the USL, from the MLS, from the NWLS. There is so much to talk about, and we are going to get into this episode today. We have MLS's back talk, transfer rumors, and more. But first, I want to start us out with the transfer rumors, because that to me is the most exciting part of some of the news that we have not talked about over the past week. Let's get started with the Chicago Fire. You know them, you love them. The Chicago Fire are a good team right now. They are coached by my enemy, Greg Berhalter. I'm not a Berhalter guy, and I will never be a Berhalter guy after I think he hurt the national team more than he helped it. But that is regardless of the point, because we have to talk about one guy joining the team. That is Robert Lewandowski. You know Robert Lewandowski, he is a world-class striker, or was, I should say. He's obviously a little bit older now. And, well, what? He's 37 years old, right? He spent the majority of his career in the Bundesliga. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund legend turned villain as he joined Bayern Munich back in 2014. Bayern Munich legend. He's won Champions Leagues. He's won so much. Never won a World Cup. Obviously, he's Polish, but he's been to World Cups. He's been in Euros. He's an amazing player. And most recently, he's just finished up not a 1 year, not a 2 year, but a 4 year stint with Barcelona. In that time, he has scored 33 goals, 26 goals, 42 goals, and 19 goals. Okay? This is a guy who's scoring well above double-digit goals right now for Barcelona, one of the greatest teams in the world, one of the greatest clubs in the world of all time. Obviously, I think that this is a massive move for MLS, and how could you not be happy with that? The Fire right now, they look pretty good. Overall, you have to be happy with their form. They've won 3 games going into the World Cup break. Their last 3 games, they won them all. They've scored a 3-1 win against DC United, a 2-0 win over Montreal, and a 2-1 win over Toronto. So now they're going to open things up tonight against Miami, but they sit at 3rd place in the Eastern Conference behind Nashville and Inter Miami. So it's good, right? Nashville, Inter Miami, quality stuff. So I'm super happy with that. And I think that Lewandowski is going to have a big time, effect on a team that's already sitting in 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. That is key. They just added a game changer, in my opinion. A game changer who's still doing it at a top level. If you look at his stats with Barcelona the past couple seasons, he's still got it at 37 years old. Listen, the Polish legend, he's coming, and other teams should be afraid. He's coming to MLS. I don't think he's just going to be like a guy that comes to MLS, puts around for a year or two, and then retires. I think he's got some stuff left in the tank, and as much as I don't like Greg Berhalter, I believe that Greg can pull it out of him. Now, there is one other issue with the Chicago Fire. The only issue with the Fire right now is the fact that, listen, they got Lewandowski. They landed a target man. They landed a phenomenal striker. The only issue is the fact that this Chicago Fire team no longer has the leading goal scorer in MLS. They no longer have Hugo Kuipers. He is the Belgian who's 29 years old, has been awesome this season. 11 matches, 13 goals in Major League Soccer in 2026. That is unbelievable. Okay, he is fantastic. He's ahead of Messi and Pitar Musa. Okay, that gives you an idea of the level of category that this guy is in. And they let him walk. He walked away. Well, not really. He's going to the money. He's going to play for trophies. He wants to play for trophies. He wants to play for money. So where is he going? We all know where he's going. Liga MX. Liga MX, they pay you money. You win some trophies. Everyone's happy at the end of the day. He's gonna be filthy rich in Mexico, basically. All right, but 29 years old, 13 goals in MLS. I mean, the guy's a beast. There's a reason why it's such a big loss for the Chicago Fire team. I think that that's a big loss, and I think Lewandowski is going to come in, pick up right where Kuiper's left off. But the fact that we don't get to see a team with the two of these guys together, and I know we may have never seen that because Greg Berhalter was never going to change from his 4-4-2. It was always going to be a 4-3-3 or some sort of formation of that 4-2-5. No, I mean sorry, 4-2-3-1, I should say. But yeah, I mean, we know what that formation is like: a 4-5-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it, whatever it's going to look like. It's going to be something like that. That's how Greg Berhalter's team plays. That's how Greg Berhalter coaches. That's how he wants his team to play. So that really only leaves room for one striker, unless you had a guy to play on the wing. And you saw it with Norway in the World Cup, right? Alexander Slorloff was not good enough for Norway. Should have been Oscar Bob out there on the right wing, because him and Holland both play the 9. You can't have two 9s on the field unless one of them can either drop off and play as a 10 or a false 9 or play on the wing, right? And I don't think either one of these guys could play on the wing, or maybe Kuipers could play as a false 9, but that's so tough because then his best ability is his goal scoring ability, and then you're losing that. So he's going for big time money. He's leaving and heading to Liga MX, and I think the Chicago Fire are going to be fine without him, but I'm sad that he's no longer in MLS because I think this just adds to the MLS retirement league motto, policy, whatever you want to call it. Now, I want to get into our next transfer, right? So we talked about Chicago Fire. There's some other transfers I want to touch on. In fact, I believe there's like a few more. I think I got 4 more left in the tank. We're doing my top 5 today. One's not a transfer. One I just have to talk about and vent about because it's something that's bothering me. And I got one team that did 2 transfers coming in. One team transfer. One team another transfer. They're all super interesting. But I'm gonna very quickly and briefly touch on Houston Dynamo. This transfer move, Duncan McGuire. Congratulations. They acquire a striker who can score. The only issue I have with Duncan McGuire as a player is that he's not super creative and he goes on streaks. I mean, what striker doesn't go on streaks? But Duncan McGuire, I think he makes Houston better. I don't think him leaving Orlando is making him worse. I think Duncan McGuire is a fine player. Houston fans should be happy. No one should be upset out of this deal. Duncan McGuire, he may make the Dynamo better, but there's no guarantee of that. I do think that when we look at what the Dynamo have put together as a roster, that McGuire can fit together pretty nicely. We have to kind of go back and look at their matches. They tie some games, they win some games. Look, in the table right now, the Houston Dynamo sits 7th on 22 points in the Western Conference. So 10 points off the Vancouver Whitecaps in first in that conference, but they're doing okay. They have a decently deep squad. Paid just over $1 million for McGuire. Sam Vines has joined there as a free agent. Former U.S. men's national team future star boy that never panned out. But yeah, you have Artur, you have Jack McGlynn, you have Hector Herrera, Matthias Bogosh. There's so many good midfielders, and now you have a finisher up top. I think that Duncan McGuire fits the need of this team very well. I don't think that the Houston Dynamo team is going to become cup contenders anytime soon. I think Ben Olsen is good at coaching teams on a budget. I think Duncan McGuire is a budget move that's going to move the needle a little bit with some fans. Only fans that know the game in the U.S., though, already. And that's my take on the Duncan McGuire move. I also think that Duncan McGuire is maybe a nicer look in fantasy now for those of you that enjoy MLS fantasy on whatever platforms you play on and are a MLS sicko like myself. Now, going on to our next transfer team. We're going to go right over to Duncan McGuire's faithful, the Orlando City Soccer Club. They made some massive moves. It was kind of already reported. It's kind of been known. Antoine Griezmann, he was coming over from Atletico Madrid. And it's a big move. This is a guy who's just playing Champions League. This is a guy who's won a World Cup. This is a guy who is not really the typical profile of any player that we currently have in MLS. Yeah, we're getting him. We're also getting Daryl DK back, too. Seattle Sounders, I believe, made some money on that. They had some sort of rights to DK, but it doesn't matter because he wants to go back home. He's back in Orlando, so there's your Duncan replacement. Duncan McGuire replacement. And then you get Antoine Griezmann, who hopefully can help turn this team around. Because later on in the show, we're also going to talk about the worst of the worst in MLS. Orlando are not on my list, but they're up there. Okay, Orlando's at 13th out of 15 teams in the Eastern Conference. They have only 4 wins, 2 draws, and 9 losses. So not good. Negative 21 goal differential, which is the second worst goal differential in the league. I know they lost some big blowout games at the beginning of the season, but it's rough, or it's been rough. They had a coach fired. Oscar Pereira is out of there. Listen, I think that Antoine Griezmann to MLS is a good move. I think that him going to Orlando is a good move. I think it's a great move for the league. I think Daryl DK coming back after what was an unfortunate failed stint in Europe, also a very good move. I'm happy to see him back. I'm proud that he's back. Maybe he gets back on the national team. I think I'm hoping way too far, but I had really high hopes for him, and I like him as a player. I like him as a person. I think his personality fits the league. I think he's a great role model for kids to look up to. I'm happy Godot DK's back. I'm happy Antoine Griezmann's in the league. So I'm happy, therefore, for Orlando. I'm going to root for Orlando because I want to see Griezmann succeed. I want to see DK succeed, but I still want them to lose because I don't want MLS to be an easy league. You want a team that doesn't have a Griezmann or a Messi or a Lewandowski to win the whole tournament. I mean, not the whole tournament, the whole MLS Cup, I should say. The whole MLS Cup. I said the whole tournament. Sorry, I'm used to World Cup talk. But no, the whole MLS Cup, because that proves MLS is not just a star-driven retirement league. MLS is a league of grit and physicality and speed, determination, and cohesiveness. Because you can have a star, and it doesn't always work. You need stars within that grit and cohesiveness. Those are the guys that show up for you. Next, I have to go to one of the more interesting signings, and that is Brias Menz, who is coming over from Real Sociedad. So, again, it's a guy that again, really happy to see. He's a designated transfer coming over to the Columbus Crew, so I think that that's always a big deal whenever there's new signings that are designated players, because that means that the league is taking a chance on it, means that the team is taking a chance on it, and they're getting a lot of money. 29 years old, so he's in his prime right now. 29 years old, Spanish player, obviously was not part of the World Cup. No, we're not that good that we can get any one of the 26 guys that are on that Spanish roster. But listen, he's played in La Liga for a long time. He has appearances for Spain. The last one he had was 4 years ago, so I don't think that we're going to get to see him on the national team anytime soon. But yeah, played for Celta Vigo for many years, came up through them, and then joined Real Sociedad in 2022. That's a good club, right? That's a club that, like, legitimately last season, they placed 10th in La Liga. This is a team that's not an easy out. This is a team that can beat a Barcelona every now and then, that can beat an Atletico Madrid, that can beat a Real Betis, that can beat a Real Madrid. Not that it always happens, but it could. And he's pretty decent. So he played 31 games, 6 goals, 2 assists last season for Real Sociedad. He had a 7.0 FOTMOB rating. Like, I think it's a good designated player signing because he's not 80. That's the win here. You're getting a 29-year-old guy who proved that he could play in the top 5 league in Europe, and you're getting him at 29 years old. So I think it makes the Crew better because the Crew have struggled this season regardless. I know that's another, believe, coaching change. Right? Columbus Crew have struggled this season, and it's been sad to see, but now they're going to take things up a notch. They currently sit in 10th in the Eastern Conference, and that's right below the playoff line. They have 16 points. I think that'll give them a little bump up. They're better than DC United. They're probably better than Charlotte or Cincinnati. There's a chance this team makes the playoffs, and maybe he changes some things around. They definitely need some help. So they have never really recovered from the Cucho Hernandez days when he left. When Cucho was there, I mean, the Colombian, he was fantastic. We saw him even show up in the World Cup. He had a really nice assist in one of the group stage games where he kind of runs over, wins it. But regardless, Bryce Men's coming to Columbus Crew from Real Sociedad. I'm praying I say his name correctly, or else the Euro snobs are going to rip me apart. But yeah, that's something that I find very interesting and very good for the league. The last part of transfer news, whatever I want to talk about, is, of course, our guy, Chucky Lozano. Chucky Lozano, he still wants to stay with San Diego FC. San Diego FC has come out once again and been like, you're not part of our plans. Chucky Lozano's over here. I don't care. Do whatever you want. I want my paycheck. I'm getting paid millions of dollars to sit on the couch and practice. And San Diego FC says, you're not part of the team. Why do you still want to be here? This was a problem with the Mexican FA, it was a problem for them, I should say, was they wanted Chucky Lozano possibly in the 2026 World Cup, but they needed him to get playing minutes. So this past winter, they reached out to him. They reached out to other teams. They had loans set up. They had transfers possibly set up. This is all reported, of course. I don't know exactly. But eventually they were able to, maybe be able to make a move or something. And he's like, no, I don't want to make a move. And it's in his contract. He has to agree to it. So he's not making a move because he's just making bank right now. His kids are in school in San Diego. He seems to like it. Obviously, it's close to Mexico, which is probably helpful, close to his culture and family and whatnot else. But yeah, I mean, Mexican national team legend, or almost legend, I probably should say. I don't know if he's a legend after this World Cup because he wasn't there. But designated player, first ever signing in San Diego FC history. And he's just in it for the money. It's sad at this point, but at the same time, I'm not a professional athlete. I don't know what I would do if someone was paying me millions of dollars just to practice on my own, because that's what San Diego FC is doing. I understand where Chuky's coming from. He made this move because he wanted to make the move. He wanted to come play for San Diego. He feels like he's apologized enough. I know there's a lot that's went down, but he's staying there for the money as of now, and it's looking like the transfer window is going to close once again. It's going to be yet another, period now where Chucky Lozano remains on the books and remains part of San Diego FC's team. Now, I want to transition over to NWSL talk. I don't have much to say about the NWSL, besides the fact that I have a lot of questions. Realistically, when you look at it, like, there are Canadian wildfires. Everyone knew about it. The Canadian wildfires. Everybody knew about the Canadian wildfires. Yet, NWSL is like, we don't care. We're going to go on, play anyway. It's a big matchup in a big stadium. That's a baseball stadium. Regardless, we're going to go play anyway. Gotham FC is going to take on their opponents in the Washington Spirit. They grabbed a 1-0 win. Just not good, not pretty. I don't understand why that was the move. Like, that's a concern to the health and safety of the players. Our beloved Rose Lavelle, who is a U.S. women's national team legend. I was just talking about the men earlier. U.S. women's national team legend Rose Lavelle. She found the net. She scored the goal. It was a big-time matchup for the NWSL, so they decided to continue onwards, and I just think it's disappointing. Because, look, I get that it's at Citi Field. I get that it's in New York City. I get that there are 42,000 tickets to this game. That's right, 42,000 people were in attendance with the smoke, with the smog, whatever you want to call it in the air. I still think it was a mistake. How are you possibly getting the best product from your two top teams in the league facing off in front of 40-something thousand people? And you're going to be like, oh, well, they have to play anyway. No, you cancel the game. Player safety comes first. I disagree with this move. I think it was a bad look for the NWSL because it wasn't the best product out there on the field. The players couldn't possibly play their best out there. I don't care what you say. They weren't. They weren't going to ever. The fans couldn't have enjoyed it as much. It looked bad on camera. It looked bad on TV. All the photos don't look good from it. Like, how do you explain that away? And once again, if you're trying to compete in the same playing field as, let's say, MLS, right? You're trying to compete male, female sports, right? MLS is the equivalent of NWSL here in America. I don't understand how that could be the equivalent when the Chicago Fire and Whitecaps canceled their match, right? Because MLS technically started. They had a couple matches last week prior to the World Cup final, and during the week they had those matches, right? It was supposed to be Thomas Mueller. He's going to meet up with his boy Lewandowski in Lewandowski's debut in Chicago, and they canceled because of the same smoke. Granted, it's a different city. They were in Chicago, and the NWSL game, the Gotham game, was played in Citi Field in New York City, but still, it makes no sense to me. Like, I'm sitting here banging my head against the wall. Why are we doing that? It doesn't make sense. That should not have been what happened there. I'm extremely disappointed in the NWSL for that decision. Last but not least, I want to transition over and take a look at the three teams that I'm going to say are a dumpster fire. They are on the struggle bus, per se. And none of these teams have been good in MLS. So again, MLS is back. We get a full slate of games tonight, and I am so excited. The first team I want to talk about are Sporting Kansas City. Sporting Kansas City have the worst goal differential in the league at -23. They have 16 goals for, and probably one of the worst defenses in the league with 39 goals against. So it's not been pretty for them. 3 wins, 2 draws, 10 losses. I'll be honest, this is a Sporting Kansas City team who they need to rebuild. I don't know who they have. They have nobody, followed up by nobody on defense, followed up by, well, I guess they have Ethan Bartlow now, like Jaden Reed. That's doing nothing for me. Then they have a whole lot of nobody in midfield besides Jacob Bartlett. And then they got a whole lot of nobody up top besides Dzijan Jugovic. And yeah, we know the former LA Galaxy man. It's a big deal that he plays in MLS still, the 26-year-old Serbian. He's pretty much a star, I'd say, for them. But I mean, there's nobody on that roster. I think Sporting Kansas City right now, outside of their fan culture and club, is an embarrassment to the league. That's really all I have to say about Sporting Kansas City. I don't see how they're going to turn around. I think they are the worst team in MLS. I think it's over for them. They are on the struggle bus officially. Struggle bus is something that I want to be able to do as uh, as I go through this Soccer Socks USA podcast series. Like I might throw teams in there. A team goes on a losing streak, they're on the struggle bus. A team is going to be eliminated from the playoffs, they're on the struggle bus. A team has a bunch of injuries, struggle bus. So my first 3 teams on the struggle bus for the second half, the beginning of the second half of this MLS season, are Sporting Kansas City. And then the next team I want to talk about, Philadelphia Union, right? So Sporting Kansas City, Philadelphia Union, and then don't worry, don't go anywhere. We will get to Atlanta United, but the Philadelphia Union is another team that we have to talk about. They played the New York Red Bulls tonight. That's a team that they could beat because the Red Bulls can lose any game known to man. They could also win any game known to man. There's no team too big to win for the Red Bulls to beat. There's no team too small for the Red Bulls to lose to. Philadelphia Union, they sit with only 1 win so far in the early goings of the season. 15 games in, 1 win, 4 draws, 10 losses, 7 points, only a negative 12 goal differential. They have 18 goals for and 30 against. So yeah, the defense is obviously still a problem. They fired Bradley Carnell. I think it's time you let the kids play. They got Kai Wagner back. That was big. He's coming in on a DP deal. That'll be interesting to see. I didn't even want to talk about that though because I feel like he just left. So he did just leave, but now he's right back. I think Ben Bender is not there, and Nathan Harrell is okay. They have some nice Americans on there. They have some. I mean, Neil Pierre, who's 18 years old. If he could get some playing time, that'd be really cool to see because he's a U.S. Youth player that could have some upside there. Kevin Sullivan, 16 years old. That's kind of the story for me. They play the kid. Like I mean, Bedoya. Like, what are we doing? He's 39. Quinn Sullivan hopefully comes back from injury soon. But Kevin Sullivan, younger brother Kevin Sullivan, play the kid. Play Kevin Sullivan. See what he can make for you. You got some okay pieces in the attack. This is a team that doesn't spend money. That's why they're in this hole. Bradley Carnell is not a great coach, but he's not a bad coach. He was a better player than he will ever be coach, at least in terms of on the international stage, because that's all I really know him for. I mean, it's so tough. Like, why is this Union team so bad? They shouldn't be this bad. So yeah, this is a team that I could see maybe turn it around, maybe sneak into the playoffs. But I don't have a whole lot of faith here. But I hope as an American fan and as a U.S. men's national team fan that Kevin Sullivan becomes the second coming of Jesus Christ, and that would be enough to save this team. And I have to because it's one of the only things giving me hope in the U.S. men's national team right now. I have to hope that is the case. So yeah, Philadelphia Union, let our Lord and Savior Kevin Sullivan on the field, play him every game, play him 90 if he could go 90, play him 70 if he can go 70. The kid's showing some magic, let him be a little magic. It works out for some other teams. Maybe it works out for the Union if they play their youth. The next team I want to talk about is Atlanta United. Atlanta United, it's so disappointing that they're on this list for me. They are 14th in the Eastern Conference, so just above Philadelphia. They haven't been as bad, only a minus 10 goal differential, but they've only won 3 games. They lost 10. And my issue with them is that it feels like they're just holding on to the days of old. Like you're going to hold on to Miguel Almiron, who is not good anymore. Miguel Almiron is just not the answer. This is a team that spends money, and they just seem to spend it in the wrong place. They obviously spent it on a lot of Paraguayans, if you missed anything. And yeah, I have a hard time with this team, with this roster. I don't think that they're good enough. I think that being there, Tata Martino, I mean, it's a good move, I guess. I don't know. I just don't see this team going far. I mean, the fact that Emmanuel Alatela is one of the worst signings the team's ever made, with a value of like 20 something million dollars. Big time, like name, whatever, 27 years old. He stinks. He has 2 goals and 1 assist so far in 14 matches in the early first half of the season. And I just can't deal with it right now. So that's another issue for me there. Atlanta United, welcome to the struggle bus. That's going to do it for this episode of the Soccer Sox USA podcast. Once again, my name is Trent Marlowe. I want to thank you for joining us. This episode, we talked MLS is back, the transfers that have come back, the teams on the struggle bus, some NWSL talk, although I don't necessarily agree with what the league has done this time. I'm still going to be rooting for them. And now we are going to focus on episode number 4 next week. I want to come back. I want to talk U.S. men's national team coaching options, probably some other news as well. But is it going to be Poch? Is it going to be Thierry Henry? Is it going to be Steve Rondello or one of the other names? Whatever else. I'm looking forward to all that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Episode number 4 is going to be great. Thank you for tuning in episode number 3. Make sure you like, subscribe, whatever. Spotify, YouTube. Appreciate it all. Have a great rest of your day.